All right, get your spectacles cleaned. Yep, we're gonna do some detailing to this Specialized Roubaix Elite. That's right. We're gonna do some corrective compound work with some polishing from Adam's Polish with a little Dremel tool polisher that I'll show you how to use. In addition to, we're gonna use a all-purpose cleaner from Lithium to clean the surface prior to, yes, you guessed it, a ceramic coating to the frame to protect it from UV light as well as water droplets, dirt, and all that to make the frame shine after each cleaning and actually add extra protection from, all that road grime and so forth. I'll show you how to do this. You can do this at home and make it easy for you. Let's dive into this. Ooh.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously I have a garage shop. Take scary how to use one bike at a time. If you want to be kept up to date on latest projects and topics, please like and subscribe.
No, you're not mistaken. This is not an exam. Not the kind that you think anyway. Start off with some clean gloves, spectacles to be able to see the details. Old man, I got to really get close to it even when I was younger too. In addition to, I got some various products here that I've been using for detailing frames, gotten into it about a year ago. Some of the stuff has just been a mind-blowing experience. I knew about car detailing and so forth, but I never really got into car detailing because I'm like a bike guy and I didn't, I knew a little bit about it, but I had an incident with my truck that had to be repaired by a detail shop. And the guy was a buddy of a buddy, and he lent me some samples from Anvil polishes. He knows what I did. It's like, hey, try to do some of this to your frames while you're doing refurbishing. And lo and behold, it was a game changer for me. Yeah, it adds a whole nother layer of process to my tune-ups and adds more time, but the final results is, number one, you got a really good looking bike. In addition to, it's also protected, and those things can't stress some more because, a nice clean bike is gonna ride a little bit better for you, right? In addition to, you want to protect the equipment, especially bikes these days have gotten really expensive. So if you spent 5 to 10 grand on a bike, you may want to do some of this stuff yourself, and also you can use it on your car too if you wish. But in any case, a lot of the properties of the paints and so forth are very similar between bike shops and bike frames anyway, and cars. But the thing is, we have little surfaces on a bike frame versus big. So what I'm basically going to go through is cleaning the frame initially, getting all the gunk off, using the new lithium grime wave. That really just kind of gets all that grease, degreaser, that kind of thing off. I'm going to touch up certain areas where they may have scratches and so forth with a scratch and swirl. It doesn't make the scratches completely disappear, but it kind of smooths out the ones that are currently, so it kind of blends in either with the second layer of clear coat or in the paint, so it's less obvious. We're not here to do complete restoration. We're basically restoring and not, we're refurbishing, not restoring, really. The next compound is the next layers, which actually kind of smooth out the whole surface. After that, we do the polishing, which gets that clear coat and the paint to pop and be really nice. After that, we do some cleaning again to make sure the surface is clean from all the other contaminants of using the polishings and so forth before we slam the ceramic slam. Ceramic slam is pretty nice stuff. It actually does a nice stacking. It is a little bit less expensive than some other brands. You can do whichever ceramics that you want to dive into. Adams has some nice ones out there and some other properties. The idea here is really simple. We want to clean and protect. Basic. Whatever products you feel that work for you or you have around the house already, go for it. I just wanted to give you a good process of how do I do it myself and what I've been using. Lithium, I got their attention, so these products were actually sent to me to try out, and I've been using them on several different bikes, and it seems to work out really well. Did some little testing with water and so forth. You can check out one of those videos, and mud. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's been a game changer. It's been a lot of fun. Working on bikes for 30 years and getting into something new, it's definitely a great thing. But yeah, looking at these products, so these are top of their class in the particular car detailing world. You Google it, you YouTube it, man, you'll see hundreds and hundreds of videos of both brands out there. They're legit. They actually do the job right. Without further ado, let's just dive into this. Will we? Get some coffee first. So a little disclaimer, first and foremost, we're going to be doing a section here on the actual top tube. I've done this on several frames, so I actually know how these particular paints behave and so forth. If you don't know, what you can do is go on the down tube of the bike, which is underneath here, and do a little test section where you can see how the polishes react and so forth. I highly recommend doing that before just diving right into it and just tearing into it, because you don't want to get damage the paint and be like, oh, that's a horrible thing that I just did. Because all these different frames, they'll have different thicknesses and layering of the actual paint. And you got to be kind of mindful of that. So we're just going to do this section here, which is a good example. I have a little bit of scarring here. I'm going to try to bring out a little discoloring of color from falling over in the garage or something. Picked up some other kind of paint stain, and I'm just going to try to clean this section as possible by showing the process of doing. It sounds like a lot, but actually it is a lot easier than you think. First off, we're going to use the grime wave. Basically, you can use this on towels. I just have a fiber cloth here. And this will just kind of pick up any kind of dirt and residue, because you don't want to use any kind of drilling or grommet or any of that kind of polishing buffing pads to push that stuff in there. So you want to get this off of the frame as much as possible. And you can kind of see right now it's actually getting a nice cleanness to it. This stuff works really well. Basically, you put it on for about a minute, let it sit on like dirty parts and so forth. You can use it in your car, then rinse it off with water. That's just the trick of it. In this case, we're not going to rinse off with water. We're just going to wipe it off, and we're using our scratch and swirl here momentarily to get this little boo-boo out of the way, and possibly this one too. So for serious correction, I use the 3000 grit pad here. This is really just kind of smoothing out. If you don't feel comfortable sanding your frame, I wouldn't suggest doing that. Also, I use the Dremel tool here. This one actually works really well in the sense that it's compact. You can pay for the very expensive detailing ones, which will be $300 to $400. This guy is roughly, I think, around 60, and it works really good. And you also could use it for your around the house, countertops and stuff like that too. So I found it very useful. I bought two of these because I go through a frame and they are rechargeable, but they're not detachable batteries, they're built in. So it takes a little bit of effort to make sure you're in a little time to do the whole frame from end to end. So I usually go through 2 charges, which is 2 of these. Also, I've burned out one of these. The battery went bad. I went through Dremel. They took care of me, replaced me with a new one. So they do have some good warranties. I think it was at least 2 years on the warranty. So that worked out pretty well. So I'm just going to focus on this little area here where I have that little kind of raised up area from the clear coat, and just kind of buff it down. Not too far, not too much. I'm just doing a little bit to get that edge down so it'll smooth and polish it. If you can cut this pretty quick, even with the 3000, so be very mindful of that. So the next thing I'll do is do the scratch and swirl pad. This is actually a wool blend padding, and it actually really helps with micro scratches and kind of smooths them out. Well, that being said, it's actually looking pretty good. So I take a fiber cloth, wipe it off here, and you can see on this little dot here now it's just kind of a small smooth indentation. If I would have gone any deeper, the black underneath would have penetrated the paint of the color through there. It is a little bit, but it's a lot less noticeable at this point where it was kind of scarred up. And this little paint kind of went away, so we're doing pretty good there. So now we're going to use from Adams the compound on their compound pad. This kind of just basically smooths out everything on the actual frame. Oop, way too much. Light and polite, and a little goes a long ways. I use different color of fiber cloths to identify, so I don't want to mix contaminant. So when I'm buffing off the compound, it's not mixing with the scratch and swirl. So really, right now we got a nice shine built into this, even though it's supposed to be matte, and it's actually a nice matte finish to this white shine here. So it cleans this up and makes it a little more defined, and actually really makes this brilliant. Once we get the ceramic slam on there, it's going to be super nice, like candy, like hard candy. So we'll put a little bit of polish on this guy, put on the pad, and same repeat. Yeah, boy, we got some serious high shine polish. So now we have the actual frame, the paint's polished, it's brought out, got all those blemishes kind of corrected as much as they can, that kind of thing. Nothing's going to be perfect unless it's coming out of the paint booth of a painting booth or whatever. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little bit of the hyper clean, just a little bit goes a long ways, and we're just going to wipe off the area. That's just going to get kind of any kind of those contaminant or the polishes and grinds all off that, so it's really just the frame paint itself. So I get these at like Walmart. You can get them online on Amazon, what have you. They're nice and pliable. This is just a applicator. And there's another applicator from Adams, which is like this brick. But you can see this is good for big surfaces like car hoods and so forth. But the bike is a lot more round, so a lot more angles to it. This is a pliable, so it kind of fits in those areas a lot easier for me, and that actually works really well. You don't need to use a lot of this. It basically, a bottle of this will take up to like 8 full cars. I still have, I don't know, about 2/3 left or 1/3 left. And I've done 20 or 30 frames already with this, and multiple coats and parts as well. I've been doing this on rims, and I'm doing a little testing on some cassettes and see if it sheds water and so forth. But on here, you just put a couple squirts on the middle of the pad here. I kind of like to fold it, and we just apply. Doesn't take much. It's pretty quick and easy. And I'm doing one section here. When I'm doing the whole frame, which I will be after this, I like to do one side and go to the other side, do it, then repeat. So I do a double, it's not stacking because it's not dried, but it's like a double layering to make sure I cover and catch all the corners and nits and bits on this, and then let it sit and dry between 5 to 10 minutes to 2 hours, whatever you feel comfortable with or you have time. Then you go back and apply a second layer, same process. What that is doing is stacking that up, just building up a second layer of that protection. This particular protection, this will last you 8 to 9 months or 8 to 12 months on a car. Well, on a bike, it's inside a lot of the times. It's not outside exposed to the elements, so it's going to last a lot longer on the bike. In addition to, you can save yourself, $10 on a whole bottle. But think about it, though. You want to splurge and spend a little bit more for the more exotic brands. That's fine, and it's going to last you, unless you're going to use it for your car too, which more than welcome to do. But in this case, if you're just going to be using it on your bikes, it'll last you a long time. So with that being said, doing a second layer on this, man. That just brings, I just see it. So what happens now, after it dries, it'll have like this white film to it. And once that's a white film, you just wipe that off, and you'll feel kind of like a stick tack to it. as you're first going over the surface, but that'll break free, and that's with all ceramics. It'll break free with a fiber cloth, of course, and then all of a sudden you'll have like this super slickness. It's like, wow, this thing is just super fast. You know, there's got to be some kind of aerodynamic qualities to this, of course. I'm not going to put it in a wind tunnel and do some testing because I got to get around this sail of a body anyway, so that's not going to do me any good. But what it's going to do is makes the frame look nice. Besides that, the more important part is going to protect the UV light from penetrating the frame. In addition to the water droplets are just going to shed right off. And if there's dirt and splash and that we all get caught up in like rain or whatever or mud, and this is also you can do on mountain bikes as well. And that will help build that barrier. So when you go to rinse that off after your ride, even if it all dried on the back of your car driving back home from the mountains, you rinse it off, low pressure water, of course, no jet streams, Don't go to the power wash because you'll be blowing grease out of parts that you don't need to. But light and polite, even with a light squirt bottle, I've had it see just shed. And this will be really nice underneath the frame too. In addition to, it'll, like that road tar stuff, I would assume it would not adhere or stick to as easy as to the exposed clear coat of the frame or paint. So with that particular layer, it may come off a little bit easier during washing. And not just necessarily washing, protecting your frame from the UV, not from impacts or any of that, of course, but just like your vehicle. And it's one of those things. You spent and invested into this bike, and you want to have it as last as long as possible. Especially some paint jobs I've seen over the years kind of fade in the sun. I wish we had this back in the the 80s when we had a lot of neon, because that neon looks super butt ugly right now. So yeah, I've seen a few like, ooh, that was a pink-ish. Anyway, now it's some like, I don't know, ash white vomit. Any case, this is a super protection. Hey, well, let's check this out. After my completion, I'll show you the shine in the sun. Right into it. Oh, for timestamp on this, basically to do a frame, I have this stripped down to the frame. I'll do another video where you just take the wheels off and kind of work around the workarounds to be able to get into those corners and so forth. Maybe just the ceramic frame, but this will take me about an hour to do from beginning to end, probably less, but using those tools at hand. And you don't have to have a Dremels. If you're afraid of putting any kind of motorized thing on your paint, that's fine. You can just use a whole handful of fiber cloths and just apply that those particular polishes and so forth on the fiber cloth that did get pretty close to the same result. For me, I just need to get this down as fast as I can because I got other things to do with this bike, like put all the parts back on and the wheels and test ride it and get it back to the customer. I do this to all the bikes I refurbish too that I sell. So this is kind of a nice little package service that I do as well with the tune-up. Well, let's check out these beautiful results in the sun after this. So here we have it. Got a couple layers of ceramic slam on there, where when I was waiting between, I took the bar tape off and restrung the cables. So those are all ready to go. And then I put a little bit of ceramic coating on the hoods and also the bar there. So you can put it on multiple parts of the bike, plastic and rubber as well as some metal. And you can kind of see it already has a shine to it, but there is a slight dullness to this, ever so slight, because I've layered it. There's probably two and a half, almost 3 layers in some spots. I doubled up in areas where I'm really going to need the extra cleaning, like in this area here, underneath, those kinds of things, to be mindful. Also, when I was doing the detailing, you got to be careful with the matte finish. If you put a little bit too much elbow grinding there with a buffer, that kind of thing, you will actually polish that to a point where it's polished black instead of matte black. So you got to be careful of matte finishes. But all in that, the ceramic coating kind of covered that little shiny area to make it more consistent through. So using the combination of the Adams scratch and swirl compound and polish, and then I cleaned it, and then I used the ceramic slam coating, and did 3 go-arounds there. So yeah, let's get a little closer look at this as I'm buffing the material, or buffing the shine back into this. Check it out. So first, let's just take a look at it. I mean, it looks really good. A lot of the dirty spots, those little boo-boo areas, are pretty much not even noticeable. And there was a few back here that I cleaned up as well. A little line here that I definitely buffed out. So, and there was that scratch. Oh, that was not a scratch, that was dust. A little scratch here that I was trying to remove. So, you know, most of this bike was pretty clean. The only true dinger was probably this fork blade. Has a couple little notches there. Can't really see it on this side here, and a couple little dings on the paint or the decal. But other than that, this frame is in immaculate shape. So let's look at the frame as I feel that little tackness to it, and it totally gives away. And you can see the deep shine, almost candy-like shine to it. And that weave really just comes out. You can still see a little bit of that shined area where I was trying to get that scratch out, but it really is hidden by the ceramic slam, the ceramic coating. And this is just gonna make this frame just completely pop. And also you got the protectedness of the coating as well. So let's do a little bonus test here just a second. So let's say you got yourself a little misting storm water, rain. See how that just beads up? Just like the tight bead concentration on that. And here's the magical part. You take this to, your little spray nozzle at home to wash off a bike after a grimy ride. Rinse it off, you'll have beads like this. You can shake the bike and the beads will fall off. Or you take a fiber cloth and whoosh, there it goes. All gone. Bye-bye. These beads are now history. So, yeah, I mean, I can't be any more amazed. Let's recap. Well, so here we have it. These products here and the Dremel tool, atoms and lithium, top of the game. I mean, I actually you use the best stuff possible, right? And this is what I have, and I've been playing with both material, both brands for a while now, and it just becomes super amazing. Colors, bring out, shine, protection. See the water beading like that. I did that with mud with a test video on a frame that I had in the backyard, and after the first snowstorm, it still beaded up, sitting back there, just being in the elements, taking the beating of whatever I can throw at it. So yeah, I mean, where polishes go, I hope this makes it pretty easy. You don't have to do the Dremel. You can do everything by separate different cloths of applying and so forth, and applicators. So you can do pretty much the same, close to the same results. It's just a little bit faster and a little bit more detailed to use those little grinders. But in any case, this bike is going to be immaculate, super smooth. I hope the customer has had this bike tuned up is super ecstatic by seeing all the details that have been put into the frame and bring it back to almost new quality. It's just kind of cool to be able to bring something, it's like one of those satisfactions of, the dirtier it is, the more shine I can make it, the more improvement that it looks. I definitely pretty sure this bike will eye pop after what's reassembled. So on to the rest of the bike. Thanks for hanging out with me. All the details of everything I use is in the description below. In addition to, if you have any tricks and tips that you've done before on your cars or bikes or anything like that, or products, please put comments below. It's a community. Help each other out trying to figure out the stuff one day at a time, right? Well, again, if it's nice in your neck of the woods, go for a ride. It's a little warm out, so I might have to go for a ride myself. In any case, thanks for hanging out with me in the garage. Until next time, have a wonderful day.